Hey everybody, it is 10 a.m. on a Saturday morning and you are listening to the greatest radio station in the world, Crazy Country 105.9, and you are listening to me, Keith Saarloos, on the world famous Chopping It Up, the number one rated radio show at 10 a.m. on 105.9. And today is our second installment with the woman who without her, I would not be here, the woman, the myth, the legend that is Linda Saarloos. How you doing, Mom?
Good.
What was the first thing you had? Can we edit this?
Can we edit in? Oh, I don't know who'd want to listen.
This is fantastic. I want to have you on the radio because I want a record of all this stuff.
There you go.
I haven't told one lie. I've joked about everything, and everybody needs to believe every story I tell about you is absolutely 100% true, even though people don't believe it.
Well, I'll definitely fact check it.
There we go. So we talked about sports and how you set a TCU record for most sporting events attended by any human being in 1 year, more than the athletic director. We talked about Dad and where you grew up. So you grew up in Southern California in Bellflower, Cerritos, Artesia, Norwalk, 91, 605, 5 freeway.
Absolutely.
And it was known as Dairy Valley back in the day.
Yes. Our high school was called Valley Christian.
Yep.
Dairy Valley.
Dairy Valley. So what made you and Dad? What on earth? Because I want to hear it from you. Dad was around 50 years old. We had a business down there, this, that, and the other. But there was always a piece of Dad. Even I remember it growing up because we lived in Bellflower, California, which is a city. I mean, Alondra Boulevard in Woodruff. And we had a cow in our backyard my entire life.
Was horse property.
Horse property. And we would raise a cow, butcher it, and fill a freezer.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
And bring the butcher right out to the backyard.
We would bring a butcher right out to our backyard, and there was apartment complexes right behind us. Do you remember this?
Yes.
And we would bring the cow out there, and these guys would be working on their cars in the parking lot behind a 2-story apartment complex where they're literally looking into our backyard. And this truck would drive on the grass. We'd bring the cow out, and we would butcher a cow in our backyard with about 15 faces, all looking over the fence going, what are they doing?
Right.
Absolutely insane. So Dad wanted to be a farmer his entire life because our business was a dairy supply company. And then as the dairies moved out, homes moved in, and we pivoted to lawn and garden supply.
Right.
Because shovels, rakes, hoses, anything, if you go to Ace Hardware today and you go in the garden section or the plumbing section, if it's not alive or didn't have a motor, we put it there at one point.
True.
Dad wanted to be a farmer. So he's...
a dairyman.
Or a dairyman. And so you guys are talking this, that, and the other. And Dad was very audacious, but Dad was very pathetic, right? Where you guys went on one date and said, wouldn't it be great to live here one day? And then you lived there, right? Then what was it that was, Kirk and I are off to college and we're kind of doing this and that. And all of a sudden Dad goes, I want to move out to the middle of the country. And we're like, what are you talking about? You're not a farmer. And he's like, I want to be a farmer. And we said, are you insane? And he's like, no, I'm going to do this. So what was it? Because number one, any guy can have a crazy dream like that, but to have a wife like you who's laying next to him and goes, yeah, this sounds like a pretty good idea. I mean, that is insane. So what was the story? How did you guys find the San Ynez Valley?
Well, actually, we were here because of our high school played San Ynez High.
Yeah, football.
In football. We came up here.
That's
you were 2 years old.
Yep. I remember when we came up here I was in high school. We stayed at the Pea Soup Anderson as a football team, and we played San Ynez High School.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah.
And it's Solvang. This is great. Right?
But we came up with a motorhome and stayed at Flying Flags.
Yep.
Went to the Friday night game. I think San Ynez beat us.
Yeah.
And then...
of course you would know.
We loved the area. And Westmont, we had come up quite a bit because we had friends that went to Westmont College.
Yep.
And so we came up, we knew about this area. And then when we sold a business, and Dad said, you know what? I want to have ranch land and cows.
Yes. Because that's all Dad wanted to do.
Yeah.
Grow something from the ground and raise cattle. And that was pretty much because Grandpa Saarloos was the only Saarloos in history that didn't have farmer attached to his name.
Right.
And he loved it.
He loved it.
As I loved it, one of the great quotes for, Grandpa Saarloos, he had so many, but one was like, as goes the American farmer, as goes America.
True.
which I thought was, at the time, I didn't know what he was talking about, and now I completely know what he's talking about.
What was the picture that he hung in his garage over his workbench?
Yeah, it's a Saarloos Dream Ranch.
Yes.
Yes, and that was a work photo, and we still have
From
it.
a big calendar.
From a big calendar. Back in the day when companies would give you a huge wall calendar, right? And he wrote Saarloos Dream, and it said Ranch Road, and he cut out the road, Saarloos Dream Ranch, in his old handwriting, right?
Right.
And Dad stared at that his whole life going, oh, that's our dream? And he's like, okay, let's go. So you guys came up here. How does the story go? So you guys were looking at places up in Paso.
Right.
And then you would always spend the night where?
We would leave Long Beach.
Yep.
Drive on a Friday night, drive as far as you could, which would be Solvang.
Yep.
Spend the night. The next morning we drove up to Paso because we were looking at ranch land out there.
Yep.
And then the company we sold kept both of us for 5 years.
Yep.
And
Put them in the handcuffs.
Right. And so we knew that we would be driving all this way every week or every weekend. So we decided, I said, why would we want to go any further than where we want to spend the first night?
Right.
Because otherwise that second, how many hours to
Yep.
Paso?
Another hour and a half.
And he said, because the land is too expensive here.
Yep.
But
So here's a great story. So one day you guys drove up. We live on Ballard Canyon right there. And there's a guy named William Tanko, right? And William Tanko was Imelda Marcos's nephew. Godson, right? And if anybody knows about Imelda Marcos and the shoes and this and that. So he had that place, and he had where our ranch is now on Windmill Ranch, right on Ballard Canyon. And he went all the way across the freeway
to the 101.
where Tierra Alta is now, all the way to the 101. And the way Dad told the story, and you got to corroborate this now, is he goes, hey, why are you going up here? What are you doing? And he goes, well, I'm looking for a place. And he goes, why don't you buy this place? And he goes, what are you talking about? And he goes, well, it goes all the way to there and there. And why don't you buy this? Because there was a regime change or something, and he was heading back to the Philippines.
True.
And he goes, I'm just decided to sell it today. And Dad goes, well, that's too much, and I can't afford this, that, and the other. And he goes, well, how about just this half? And he goes,
and it was the perfect amount that we were willing to spend.
Right, with 14,000 Fuji apple trees right there on the corner. And Dad goes, are you serious? And he goes, yeah. And it was like bing, bang, boom, done.
Yep, apple business.
Apple business. So we're going to be in the apple business, right? So that first year, right, we were farming apples right there on Ballard Canyon.
It was going to be the first year of a crop.
First year of a crop. And we had a little neighbor, we probably won't say his name, who was working for a little upstart company called Whole Foods. And he goes, what are you going to do with these apples? And Dad goes, I don't know, I'm going to sell them. And he goes, well, I'll buy them all. And he goes, really? He goes, yeah, I'll buy them all. And Dad's like, this is easy. Oh my gosh, I don't know what people are complaining about farming for. So worked for a full year, put all this effort and time and everything into it, boxed them all up. Put them on the flatbed, drove them to Los Angeles to a warehouse. And some guy Dad has never seen before comes out and says, what is this? And he's like, oh, these are the apples. So-and-so bought them. And he goes, well, I'm the fruit buyer. Nobody tells me what we buy. Rejected. Is that correct?
He said, yep. They're not waxed. They're not graded.
Yes.
They're not
There's nothing.
sized.
Nothing. He just picked them and put them in a box, and he's like, hey, I guess we're doing this, right? So, Dad, you guys went from the highest high to the lowest low.
He came home that day with all the apples.
All the apples, crying and throwing up, right?
Yeah.
So, pushed them, didn't have anything to do with them. They were all rotten, this and that and the other.
Gave them to all the schools as much as they would take.
As much as they would take, and then pushed them all the rest out on the ground and watched cows eat them.
Yeah.
Perfect. So then it was like,
welcome to farming.
Welcome to farming, right? And here's where you come in as a saint, because you grew up on a farm. And one of the things that we've said many, many times, sometimes you have a horse pass, sometimes you have a cow gets out or this or that. And we've said it around our family for years, even when we weren't farming. You go, hey, that's life on the farm.
Yep.
You got to be as tough as you possibly can and be as soft as you possibly can, so you can take the good and the bad all at once and then still go to lunch that day. It's a tough life. So that we go from being apple farmers to Dad's, we're all talking, what are we going to do? Oh my gosh, have we made this huge mistake and everything else? And you very pathetically said, we can only eat so many apple pies.
Yep.
Why don't we tear it out and put in grapes? Seems like people want those.
Absolutely.
And there was 1/3 of the amount of grapes that were planted in the San Ynez Valley, or really Santa Barbara County at that time. So this is about 1999. So we tore everything out. We burned everything, redid everything, and then put in all the posts, all the wires, hand planted all of our vines, and we're farming grapes. Mm-hmm. And we were selling those grapes to a lot of different wineries all over the place. That's about the time when Dad goes, I'm not doing anything else until you get up here. And I said, well, okay, all right. Heather and I had a baby. And we were like, well, we're moving on up. And we lived in the barn, right? And had a little 2-week-old baby sleeping in between us. And I always make the joke, when we first moved up here, we had water and electricity.
Right.
You know, there wasn't...
and a gas stove, or a wood stove.
A wood stove for heat, right? And the day we came up here, the old man said, we're picking tomorrow. Get up. We'll be picking at 4 a.m. Okay, right. Got it. So I kissed my wife on the cheek and my baby, built a fire in the potbelly stove for heat, and we went out and we were picking.
Right.
So what has happened in those 26 years of you living here? I know you love this place, right? And you were, you guys competed in horses.
Right.
Team penning.
Larry loved horses.
Loved it. And
loved it.
Here's a little known fact. Who has more belt buckles from winning in competition?
Between Larry and I?
Between you and Dad.
Oh, I have a few more.
You have a few more. So once again, the competition comes screaming out, right?
He also bought me the best horse.
You had a pretty good horse.
Because it was like, I don't want to ride. And I go, if I'm going to ride,
I want to win. That's exactly right.
I do have one of the best. In fact, this horse is in the Cowgirl Hall of Fame.
That's right.
That's how good my husband was.
He loved you. Dad loved you. I mean,
it was a great horse.
The one of the greatest parts about being your son, I can speak for me and Kirk, is that one of the greatest gifts that any parent can give their children is to love each other.
True. The best. And
you and Dad had, I always said, Dad knew when he was playing with the house's money.
Me too.
I know. But Dad, Dad knew he was lucky to have you. And I really mean that from the bottom of my heart, because I know a rare person when I see one, and I was raised by one. And the minute I saw my wife walking across a parking lot, I knew that she was rare too.
She's a great one.
She's a great one. And then now with my daughter, she's a rare. And I know Cash is looking for a rare.
Yep.
You know what I mean? We have been blessed with patriarchs and matriarchs in our family who truly loved each other. You know, brought us up, going to church, good schools. I don't think you've ever missed any game any of us have ever been in.
Nope.
I mean, every single one. It could be 8 hours away. You're like, well, we're going. Let's go.
Let's go.
To have that kind of support as a young person, you kind of think it's normal. And as I've gotten older, I realize how abnormal it is. And you have always been there for your grandkids, your sons, your daughter-in-laws. You've been absolutely spectacular. You know, even when we went off to college, no news was good news.
Absolutely. I think that's when Larry said, I haven't heard from the boys. They won't return my calls.
Yes.
And I'm like, no news is good news.
Right. And Dad was the one that would stand in our rooms looking around going, I miss these guys. And you go, let them go.
Let them go.
Let them go.
No trouble.
So you were competing up here with Dad, riding horses, doing all that kind of stuff. What's your favorite part about the San Ynez Valley?
Ooh, let's see. I think that it's such a small community that you see the people everywhere, in the grocery store, in the hardware store. You see them going down the street, and everybody is friendly, and everybody has time for everybody.
Very much.
And I
so.
think that's what the visitors see when they come here too.
I think the one thing that I really did learn from you and Dad is that you both love community. It could be work stuff, you know, it could be sports, it could be church, it could be horses, it could be anything, you know. Dad was always there to meet as many people as he possibly could.
Right.
You know, like, oh, what do you do? What do you do? Hey.
He was my Rolodex.
He was a Rolodex. I when he passed away, I downloaded his phone and grabbed all the contacts, and I don't remember the last time. I haven't got it. If it's not a spam call, I got that person's name that comes up, which is an absolutely amazing. So you guys are big in community, you know, high school football, you know, going to college sports, you name it. You guys were there and talking to everybody, and everybody was your friend. And I've always thought is such a great role model where you're the kind of person who treats the Queen of England and her next door neighbor exactly the same. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You know, everybody wants to be treated well.
Right.
And everybody seems to treat you in the same way
true.
that you treat everybody else. I've never met anybody like, I know 3 people that have ever said anything bad about you or caused you anger. And I'm just, as I promised you, I won't do anything until you're gone.
Thank you.
And then I'm going after all of them. And one day it'll be a Godfather moment.
No.
So not just the community of people. You got roasted bean. Let's talk about that.
Oh yeah. And that was pretty brilliant. Your dad. It's, and how would you say it?
The Valley's
meant to be.
It was.
Because we're coming up and go have coffee, meet some people in the valley. We were only here maybe
4 days a week.
Yeah. And maybe for only 6 months. And he goes, this coffee house, I wonder if it's for sale.
Right.
It's like, whoa, I'm going to go in the coffee business?
All of a sudden. Right.
Yeah. So he goes, so he asked the telephone number of the person who owned it. He called, and the wife answered the phone and said, who told you we were going to sell it? We just talked about that last night. And it was like, whoa, so you are interested in selling it.
Dad always had great timing.
Great timing.
Right. And
that's what happened. And we met so many people through that.
That was probably, like, that's one of the greatest gifts, right? In all honesty. It's like the Roasted Bean back in the day was the only coffee shop, right? When there was Blockbuster Video and one coffee shop. And to this day, I mean, honestly, it's like how many people, like girls that work there, now we're going to their kids' graduations. Right. You know, it's insane. And how many people walk through the front door, how many characters, that big table where every day at 6 a.m. there'd be a cast of characters figuring out the world's problems, having conversations. It was really, really a special place.
It was.
So from there, you know, your guys are in the valley. You're more and more. Bocce ball, there's another great little conversation there where, you know, getting involved. It's like, how are you going to meet every single person in this valley in 1 year? And the bocce ball league was insane.
Oh, it was great.
I mean, I'm just going to go on record. My team, the Spockers, when we had kids that were, all of our wives were pregnant, right? When we were playing, and we won it 3 years in a row, and then they kicked us out of the league.
Well, you also trash talked everybody.
We did trash talk. That was true.
Which
did not go over well.
Some of us can take it, and there were other teams that it just blew their game.
It did. It blew their game. But we would also drink a bottle of wine per person before the game would start, and we could handle our booze because we were in our early mid 20s, and everybody else couldn't. And then we just run the table on everything. Right. And then when we stopped playing, how many years in a row did you win it?
Oh, a few.
Yeah.
A few.
So there was a Saarloos on the cup for a long time. So anybody who knows about the bocce league, Saarloos is we owned that thing for a while.
We had a great time. It was a Tuesday night, right?
Yeah. Yeah, Lee Rosenberg was the commissioner, and every week I'd get a phone call on Wednesday because the other team was ticked off.
Absolutely.
It was fantastic.
And you know what was great was these were people you met that you probably would never run in their circles. And
True.
It
was a great equalizer.
It was. Everybody got along.
Yep. I always say, if anybody's like new to the valley or whatever, I go, have you found the bocce league yet? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, get on a team. You'll know everybody in about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So we're farming, we're growing grapes, we're selling them to other people. The corner of Zaka Station comes up for sale, right? And we're like, hey, we're farming over here. Why don't we farm over there? Bought that from the Firestones. We tear that place out. We replant it. You know, here's a question for you that I have is, you know, I second guess myself every day. And I'm always like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? You know, like right now I got a tractor with a transmission problem. It fixed it. And then now it's something else. I got a technician over there right now. And I'm like, what am I doing? Right. Did Dad ever second guess himself? Was he always sure?
No. Yeah. I would say he would second guess, but it was always, you know, the 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And the
you
next
mean the
morning,
scaries? That's when they hit me too.
And the next morning it's like, up, Adam, and take care of the opportunity we have today.
So that's exactly right.
It's not a problem, it's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity. I've heard that a billion times in my life. But I think it was him getting up in the morning and going, I'm going to go see these guys for coffee.
Yeah.
And then he'd be sitting there drinking coffee with somebody, and pretty soon, you know, he could complain to somebody or somebody would complain. And he's like, oh, this ain't so bad. Let's go get it, right? Let's go figure out the day.
Yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic. Any other stories about Dad you want to talk about?
And he was really good if somebody was going through a bad time, be the first person to pick up the phone and call him.
I've tried to take that on, and I know Kirk has tried to take that on as well. It's like one of the things that after Dad passed, the amount of phone calls I got from people that said, your dad called me on my worst day, right? If he heard of a coach, of someone that he knew that, you know, got fired from a team, it was kind of the joke, when the phone stopped ringing, Larry was calling. And he would call, and how many people do, you know, they're all going to remain nameless, but how many people I've seen walk up and, you know, sit across from my dad on a Wednesday afternoon and talk, you know, and the old man would give them advice, help them out if he could, get them back on their feet, maybe talk some sense into them. He would do it all the time. And
he also went, you know, with the businesses that we've had.
Yeah.
You know, you go through tough times and you realize his favorite thing to say was, sun will come up tomorrow.
From what I understand, the sun's going to come up tomorrow.
Yep.
I mean, if we just talk about that, you know, one of the things, like, even I remember when we were growing up, you know, we're in Bellflower, California Avenue. And one day, Dad he thought he was going to get an award.
Yeah. For the best
distributor in
the nation.
He was pumped up. He thought it was like number one. Oh, we're killing it. We're going to get an award today. Right. Yeah. And he walks in and they said, you lost the whole business.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
And so this guy lost half his business
due to nothing that we did wrong, but the
politics.
It was a very questionable
thing that took place.
Yes.
And Dad came home that night and we all sat around a table, and our whole family, you know, you guys never kept any secrets from us. Dad talked to you about everything that happened on his son that day, asked your advice. I always think that that's one of the interesting parts now that I see Brielle growing up, right? I grew up around a table that my dad, my uncle, and my grandfather, and I was pushing a broom in a warehouse. They would all go over to Grandma's house and have lunch. Right. And they would all sit there and talk about what was going on. They all shared an office with no walls.
Right.
And you could go in there and you could yell at my dad about operations or yell at my uncle about sales. And my dad would sit there quietly and doing his work, listening to everything that was going on. And you could say, Larry has no idea what he's doing. And you were in the office with the guy and he would act like he wasn't there. Right. And it was very open. And so our family, you know, Grandpa would ask a question and Grandma would chirp in and say, I think you should do this. And they look at each other and go, that's a pretty good idea, and do it. Right. So we always grew up in a household where it was like, there wasn't men's roles or women's roles. It was like, no, every opinion is not only valid, but it's like, I want to hear the outside of this. And you always had unbelievable advice, where my wife has unbelievable advice. And my kids are growing up the exact same way, where it's like,
it's a different perspective.
Yeah. And you just talk about everything openly. And Dad came home one day and says, I don't think we're getting new shoes or new clothes for a while. And we're like, what happened? He's like, we lost half the business today. And we were like, oh. And I was like 10 years old. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay.
And we have a lot of salesmen.
And we got a lot of salesmen.
And employees.
And Grandpa didn't take didn't pay him a salary for a year, and then would pull out of his wallet a $100 bill every time someone got a new account. And he would pay him out of his pocket. The absolute legend. Fantastic.
And it was crazy is what was a real problem
Real
became an
problem.
opportunity because it grew our business to
Oh yeah.
instead of
heights.
instead of being 100%.
They thought it would kill us.
Yes,
And
they thought put us out of business.
They thought they were going to put us in the ground, but they didn't realize that we were born in the dirt and they were just watering a seed, you know?
We became more diversified.
Very much so. So growing up and then coming up here, embracing the overall community here. And then, I mean, what's really amazing to me is, and one of the things we should probably talk about is, COVID, right? And Dad passed away from a horse accident. He was the day before.
Doing the thing he loved.
I don't want to make you cry, and I'm not going to look at you, but like he was moving cattle out on Hollister Ranch, right on the ocean.
Amazing.
And I remember him calling me that day and goes, "I had the greatest day of my life." And I said, "What do you mean you had the greatest?" He goes, "We were moving cows on the ocean. It was the greatest day ever." And he goes, "I'm going to go do it again tomorrow." And that next day, he got thrown from a horse and broke his neck. And we met him over at the Santa Barbara Hospital, and they airlifted him to UCLA. And it was the first week of COVID, and we were the only people in that whole hotel right next to UCLA.
Right.
And they wouldn't let us go in. We couldn't talk to him. 10 days later, Dad passed away. We were going to come up here, and we were going to tear apart your house to make it ADA compliant, right?
We already had the elevator purchased.
We had everything. We were ready to go. I mean, we were not going to stop. And Jones, Mr. Jones, kind of just did it in a week, in 10 days, which was, I can't thank that family enough for it. Now his grandson's my electrician, right?
Yeah. And also, the John Deere,
yes,
all those different companies, Coast, called and said, we can outfit a tractor for him.
Yes. And so we weren't going to stop.
Nope.
We weren't going to stop.
Nope.
And Dad passed, and one of the things I just wanted to talk about and say, just kind of on the record, because I don't know if I've been able to thank the entire San Ynez Valley.
Unbelievable.
Was COVID was locked down. This was when we walked up to the front of that building, there were people in those yellow hazmat suits. Like they thought this was it, and we had no idea. And long story short, Dad passed away the same week as Sue Herthel. And the Gordons, Amy Gordon, Rob Gordon, the Gordon family, put out a text to everybody. And this is me just saying thank you to the entire San Ynez Valley as the Saarloos family 6 years later. But people started meeting over at the Montanaro, and we're going to do a drive-by because we couldn't have a real funeral, right?
Nope.
And Pastor Randall put on his robes and went into the Episcopal Church and started ringing the bell. And there we were sitting on the curb in Los Olivos, California, and a parade of cars started coming down Grand Avenue. And that parade of cars, I thought it was going to be 5 minutes. I thought it was going to be 10 cars. And evidently somebody called the cops on us because there was a gathering. And the Solvang sheriff, Sandy, shows up and says, "What's going on?" And says, "Well, we're doing a drive-by over there for Sue and Larry." And the flag was at half staff. And he said he got in front.
He led it.
He led it. And he turned his lights on. And for 45 minutes, people one by one, the Firestone family, Thels, all of us were a parade of cars and a parade of people just came, and it felt like forever. And for 45 minutes, we just sat out in front and had a little waving funeral for Dad and for Sue Herthel. And for 45 minutes, Pastor Randall rang that bell, and there was a big puddle of sweat underneath where he was ringing it for 45 minutes. And for our family, we love this valley. But when we lost Dad here and the effort that we put in, I think one of the things that I would be remiss to not thank anybody who's listening and anybody who was there that day 6 years ago. It is a grateful and heartfelt thank you. I've never felt so loved by a community. And in your lowest low, it's who shows up for you. And it was just absolutely one of the most important, beautiful things. Kirk was there. His whole family was there. The Herthels were down the street, and then they came over, and pretty soon we're all just sitting there together, not knowing what's going to happen in the world and missing people we love. And I just wanted to say thank you to every single person who ever said a nice thing about Dad or said to me about you. I can't tell you how many times when you're watching baseball and doing all that stuff, somebody comes up to me at a grocery store and it's some little old lady going, "How's your mom doing?" Right?
Yeah.
And this valley is special because of that. Mm-hmm. It's not the land. It's not the weather. It's not anything. Mm-hmm. It's the people that make the Ynez Valley the greatest place on earth to live. Because where else in California do you still love your neighbor?
Right.
Where else in California do you go to the high school football game and cheer for kids that you know because you saw them running around your neighborhood? Mm-hmm. And you're watching them grow up and you're cheering for their success. And I think you have always been an incredible example of you don't just cheer for your kid, you cheer for every kid. Mm-hmm. And I think that has been one of the great parts of growing up and living and having my kids grow up in the Ynez Valley, where another parent is looking out for your kid.
Yeah.
And they're calling you if they see them doing something wrong.
Which is great.
I mean, my kids would walk home from school and Cash and Brielle were bickering, and I got 2 phone calls. I got a phone call when they hit the corner and they were yelling at each other, and I got another phone call when they're halfway to the tasting room, and as soon as they walk in my office, I go, what's wrong? What are you guys doing? I got 2 phone calls that you're yelling at each other, and they were shocked.
It's
Mom,
great.
I'm so glad that I got to grab you and Shanghai you. I know you didn't want to do this.
No, I thought it was going to be a fun thing today.
It is a fun thing. But you know what I wanted to do?
You make me cry.
It's not very often that a son can sit across from his mother and tell him how much he loves her and how much he cares about her and what you meant to me my whole life growing up. I'm a 50-year-old man and still a mama's boy.
Oh.
And Kirk, I know, feels the exact same way. You have been a great mother to us. You've been a great husband to my dad.
Wife.
Excuse me. A great wife to my dad. And an absolute phenomenal grandmother to your grandchildren.
Love it.
I mean,
love it. I am blessed.
You are the Valley's grandmother.
I am a blessed person.
You are blessed. Mm-hmm. Well, I want to say thank you for coming in, Mom. I just wanted to get this on the record. I couldn't do it with Dad, but I got it done with you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
No. It went faster than I thought.
It went fast, right?
Yeah.
See, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't too bad.
This is what happens when you get a radio show. I can have any guest on I want.
But you know I'm not going to listen to it.
You're not going to listen. I know you're not. It's going to be great. Okay. So everyone, this has been Keith Saarloos and Linda Saarloos on the world-famous 105.9 Crazy Country. Thank you to Carp and the entire Crazy Country staff for allowing us to have a little radio show on 105.9 Crazy Country. If you want to listen to any of the past episodes, because we've had some great ones, Mark Herthel, Firestone, Sean Cassidy, Dennis Patrick, Round Barn, it goes, the chaplain. Oh, she's the best. We're going to definitely have her back on. But I want to say thank you. When you listen to this radio station and you support the advertisers here, you're supporting one of the last independent radio stations in California. And that is something worth doing. So go spend your money with the advertisers. Go support the people in your community. Don't buy on Amazon. Go buy down at the corner store.
Local.
Buy local. Go to Finley Farms and get your produce. Buy a local cow and support our local restaurants, wineries, coffee shops, and bakeries, because those are the people that are buying the banners at all the high school games. And we get to live here. So this has been Keith Saarloos on 105.9 Crazy Country. Back to your regularly scheduled programming.